Two questions keep appearing in my comments again and again. From my Muslim viewers: why do you always attack Islam when you are from a Christian background? Shouldn't you just criticize your own religion? And from my Christian viewers: how could you leave Jesus Christ? What could possibly push you away from such a loving, merciful, and caring faith? Today, I am finally answering both of these questions openly and honestly. And to do that, I will read directly from my book, Wounded by Faith, because these answers are far deeper than a quick response could capture. I critique Islam not out of hatred, prejudice, or ignorance. Islam wasn't just another religion around me. It was a fundamental part of my lived experience, shaping every aspect of my identity and daily life. As a Christian boy growing up in Egypt, Islam was not just a religion around me. It defined every aspect of life, from the call to prayer echoing through the city streets to how I was seen and treated by those around me. Let me read this passage from my book to explain exactly what I mean. During Ramadan, public life came to a halt. Every takeaway shop, every cafe, every visible source of food or drink was closed until sundown. For Christians, it wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a constant reminder of our outsider status. If you dared to have a sip of water or a bite to eat during the day, you weren't just risking a disapproving glance. You were risking confrontation, intimidation, and the kind of hostility that left a mark long after the moment had passed. When Ramadan came during the brutal heat of summer, the isolation was even more suffocating. The idea of refreshing yourself with a cold drink or a piece of fruit felt like a distant luxury. On rare occasions, if I managed to find a place selling drinks, I had to sneak away like a criminal, hiding behind fences or in alleyways just to have a sip of water. The fear of being caught wasn't irrational. It was survival. I didn't want to risk being berated, harassed, or worse for daring to quench my thirst during the day. One incident during high school is etched into my memory. I had just finished class and I was walking home, distracted by my own thoughts, when I pulled a sandwich out of my school bag. I took a bite, completely forgetting what month it was. As I chewed, I heard voices shouting at me from a distance. At first, I couldn't make out the words, but I noticed 3 teenage boys heading in my direction. The tone of their voices was sharp, and as they approached, I realized they were angry. "You need to respect the people who host you in this country," one of them said, his tone low but threatening. I froze, the sandwich still clutched in my hand. "We are letting you live safely in this Muslim land," another added, his voice dripping with menace. "So have some respect. Do you know how to respect, or do you want us to teach you how to respect?" My heart raced as I mumbled an apology, quickly stuffing the sandwich back into my bag. I turned and walked away as fast as I could without breaking into a run. My hands trembled, my pulse pounding in my ears. It wasn't until I reached the safety of my home that I let out the breath I'd been holding. I never forgot Ramadan again. And I never ate in public during the day again, not even for a second. But let me be clear here. This excerpt represents only one part of the answer. My entire experience of Islam and the profound ways it impacted my life is detailed throughout my book, especially in chapters like Alien Among My Own and Persecuted in My Homeland. I critique Islam not to attack Muslims as people, but because silence would dishonor my truth and the truth of countless others who've suffered quietly under religious domination. Why I left Christianity? I often get asked by Christians, how could you possibly turn your back on such a loving, merciful, and compassionate faith like that of Jesus? Let me be clear. My departure from Christianity wasn't impulsive. It wasn't motivated by anger or resentment. Rather, it was a gradual realization, an awakening of sorts, that the very foundation of love and acceptance preached by the Church often contradicted their actions and doctrines. It was during moments like these that I felt compelled to question my own faith deeply. Here's a moment from my book, Wounded by Faith, that captures precisely why the contradictions became impossible for me to ignore. This moment in the book I'm about to read was in 2013 after I came to Australia, and I was still a practicing Christian at the time. I recall one particular Sunday during the Prime Minister's election campaign. The church leader addressed the congregation, urging us not to vote for a specific candidate because she was an atheist and might support gay marriage. He criticized her for living with her boyfriend without marriage, labeling her as a woman with no family values. In contrast, the other candidate, a devout Catholic, was praised as a man of faith who would uphold traditional values. I sat there, a growing sense of hypocrisy gnawed at me. How could a church that preached love and acceptance also advocate exclusion and judgment? How could an organization devoted to salvation and unity foster such a division and condemnation? The juxtaposition was stark. My workplace, a secular, multicultural environment, embodied diversity and inclusion in ways my faith community never had. It wasn't just about tolerating differences. It was about celebrating them. It was about creating a world where everyone, regardless of their background or identity, was validated and respected. That realization was more than a challenge to my beliefs. It was a reckoning. It planted a seed of doubt so profound that I couldn't ignore it. It forced me to confront the uncomfortable truth that the faith I had clung to all my life might not hold the answers I thought it did. How could I continue to follow a path that seemed to contradict the very principles it claimed to uphold? How could I reconcile the love, compassion, and acceptance I had been taught with the exclusion, judgment, and rigidity I now saw? Now, this was just one of many realizations, one among countless experiences that led me to question Christianity. In my book, I delve deeper into numerous reasons, from the exclusivity within the church to its rigid doctrines that clashed sharply with genuine acceptance and compassion. Chapters like The War Within, or Echoes of a Lost Friendship, and Alien Among My Own explore these contradictions in profound detail. My journey wasn't simply about finding fault. It was about authenticity and integrity. I realized I couldn't genuinely uphold a faith that preached love yet practiced exclusion. Ultimately, I chose authenticity over conformity, even when it meant leaving behind everything I once knew. So, to my Muslim viewers wondering why I critique Islam, I speak from lived experience. Islam wasn't just a religion around me. It shaped every moment of my life, influencing my identity and experiences in ways I could neither escape nor ignore. And to my Christian viewers who ask how I could possibly leave Christianity behind, leaving was never an easy or casual decision. It was a slow, painful awakening to the contradictions between what my faith claimed to stand for and what it actually practiced. I realize some people might listen to these two excerpts and assume that they represent my entire story. Some may even quickly conclude these reasons aren't enough to leave Christianity or criticize Islam. But please understand, these excerpts are merely drops in an ocean of lifetime experiences. My journey can't be neatly summarized in a few short paragraphs. It involves decades of struggle, loss, resilience, and self-discovery. My story deserves more than a rushed judgment. It deserves to be heard fully. That's precisely why I wrote Wounded by Faith. If you truly want to understand the depth, complexity, and sincerity of my journey, the countless reasons and experiences that shaped my choices, I invite you to read the entire book. It wasn't an easy journey, and it wasn't brief, but it was honest. And if you or someone you care about is wrestling with similar questions, my hope is that my story can offer clarity, validation, or even just the reassurance that you're not alone.